So I tested out 31 concealer hacks over 31 days, and honestly, only a few of them were actually worth it. If you're constantly struggling with your under eyes creasing, trust me, same here. I did the homework so you don't have to. As I've gotten older, I've seen some fine lines creeping in, and honestly, it sucks, but it's just something that happens, right? Instead of smoothing everything out, I just looked older. Things were creasing up, caking up, my makeup just looked heavy. It also felt heavy, and my under eyes just looked dry. Nobody likes that. So I went down the TikTok rabbit hole. I saw so many gurus and makeup artists saying creaseless concealer hack, the perfect way to finish your under eyes, no creasing all day long. So I decided to put them all to the test. 31 days, 31 concealer hacks to find out which one actually works on real textured skin with fine lines. But before we dive in, let me tell you how I was actually applying concealer that was just not working for me anymore. Because honestly, chances are you might be doing the same thing I was doing. Vanish concealer. I'm going to apply this like I normally do and have been doing my concealer for the last 6 months or so as a base test. Using the Real Techniques 242 brush, I blend it out. I remove the excess with a beauty blender. Then I use a loose powder with a powder puff, even the puff out. The under eyes are looking like, and I do have fine lines because I am in my 30s. We're back. Okay, but you guys, look how much is separated. Like, look at that separation, and it's just sitting in my fine lines. This is how I've been doing my concealer, so we need to switch it up. Yeah, that clearly was not working anymore. I mean, look at that after. We don't want that. So here's how I tested out every single hack. I picked out one concealer hack a day, completely at random, and I followed the guru's instructions step by step, not missing anything in between. And on the other side, I applied concealer the way I was doing it on a daily basis, the method that no longer worked for me. Then I wore both sides all day long, and at the end of the day, I compared them side by side, all angles, up, down, and up close and personal. And you guys, over 31 days, I learned so much about concealer. Some hacks made a huge difference. My under eyes were looking smooth, brighter, and more natural. And then the other hacks just made me look older, caked up, and honestly, it gave me more fine lines than I already had. How is that even possible? Hi cuties, welcome back to my channel where we deep dive into everything beauty, skincare, and wellness. If you want to glow up just a little bit more every single day, you're at the right place. Scott Barnes Aquaphor hack. He applies it on underneath the eye. This is such a weird sensation. Let it dry down, just taking the Fenty Wear Even concealer and using the Real Techniques 242 brush and applying it on. This side feels a little bit thicker just because I have that base layer of Aquaphor on, and I'm just going to set everything down. This side has Aquaphor on it, and I feel like off the bat it looks like this side has more coverage. Here's up close. We're back. Looking really up close, I feel like this side shows a lot more texture in this area right here, and look at the way it creased. It really emphasized my lines. I was really hoping for better results with this hack. Today, I'm trying out a hack from Bex. She is so talented, you guys. So Bex technique says to only apply concealer in this area. I'm removing some of it away, applying this on the back of my hand, using the It Cosmetics number 7 brush, and only applying concealer in this area with no foundation underneath. And then setting it all. This is what the concealer is looking like right now. We're back, and here's what the under eyes are looking like. It did crease into my fine lines. I also feel like the texture is okay. It also feels much more comfortable, not as thick and heavy as it did yesterday. Today we're trying out this super viral one. So this hack, she dips her concealer straight into loose powder. This is the Laura Mercier powder. And using this really cool concealer brush, it is actually blending out a lot easier than I thought it was going to. This brush is really cool because if you ever have liner, like look at that nice line it makes. Surprisingly, this technique doesn't feel as heavy as I thought it was going to. Setting with the remaining powder. And it is the hottest day in New York here, so stay tuned to see what happens. We're back. Honestly, I'm shook by how full coverage it still looks. Here's up close. Original and the hack. Compared to other methods, I don't feel like this went into the cracks as much. Like the fact that it doesn't look oily. This was a good hack. Today I'm testing out a technique from Vincent. He gives the best makeup hacks using the Real Techniques 242 brush. This is such an amazing drugstore concealer. It's hydrating. It covers everything up. It's long lasting. Taking the Revolution Superstay and going right over this setting spray, again drugstore, but one of the best. Setting everything with a powder, and this is what the concealer is looking like. This feels very light, like I don't have anything on, which is a really nice feeling. We're back. My concealer did seep into my fine lines quite a bit. In this area right here, I think my makeup did a better job at staying together. However, I'm still struggling right through here. Today, it's all about letting the concealer sit and applying the Hourglass on. And we're gonna let this concealer sit on for 2 minutes. 2 minutes are up. Blending this out with my IT Cosmetics brush. And I can feel this is a little bit more tacky than when I first applied the concealer on. It's a little bit more full coverage. Setting with powder. And this is what the concealer is looking like. We're back. Yes, I got a haircut, and this is what the under eyes are looking like. I also feel like the texture is much better on this side. You can see on my normal side here, it really creased and caked up. Not the worst, but also not the best. He gives the best makeup tips. Tried a few of them already, and they've worked. We're just going to blend the concealer out. I'm gonna let this sit for 2 minutes and come back. Now I'm just gonna go in with a beauty blender. I'm taking my Givenchy powder today, setting after 2 minutes. And this is what the concealer is looking like. We're back 10-ish hours later. This is what the concealer is looking like. This side, I think there's a lot more caking and settling into the lines versus this side, it doesn't look as cakey. So what do you guys think? I definitely think I'll be trying this one again for sure. Today we're trying this amazing technique from Spencer, shade 6.5. Blend, blend, blend. Done using a powder puff and my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish to set the under eyes. Here we are not baking, just setting. Now we're going to bake. I'm using Laura Mercier translucent powder and just heavily applying this. Now we're gonna dust off the excess. And this is the final look. I feel like this side looks so full coverage, so seamless. We are back. On this side, there is definitely less texture. Honestly, so surprised by that because powder usually causes more texture. Even though I do have a little creasing in my fine lines, this is probably one of the better methods that I've tried so far. I'm really, really impressed. And it still looks so full coverage. Also, this Giorgio Armani concealer, so good. Today, we're gonna be trying out the sandwich method. Got the concealer brush, setting spray. Going to spray. I'm applying the setting spray on, and then using the number 7 IT Cosmetics brush, apply this on. Now I'm going to douse this again and do the top of the sandwich. I'm just going in very lightly here so I don't move the product around. Bye Bye Pores IT Cosmetics pressed powder, just sealing everything in. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. This is giving such full coverage. We're back. You guys, the difference is crazy. I'm shocked. Look at the amount of creasing that happened inside my fine lines on the side. It's basically coming off here, whereas this side where I use a setting spray, it stayed on. Look how big of a difference that is. I think it worked. Today we're trying out this technique from Carrie, and honestly I don't even know why I didn't think about this before. It makes complete sense. Just taking the Lottie spray and spraying it on the back of my hand, using my finger and applying that setting mist on where I crease. This is a totally new experience for me. Let that dry down. Just applying the Luminous Silk Concealer, blending it out with a Real Techniques brush, and setting with the One Size powder, taking my finger again and adding our setting mist on. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. Feels super lightweight. We're back. This is what the under eyes are looking like. This side definitely has less texture in this under eye area. This side doesn't have as much caking up into my fine line. If you're tired of your concealer creasing, same. I'm testing out 30 concealer hacks over the next month to see which ones work and which ones are a joke. Today we're trying this hack from Kristen. I have a good feeling about this one. We will be using Lancome. I love this concealer. So she places her concealer like normal and then blends the concealer out with a dry powder puff. So this is supposed to give a super airbrush finish, and low-key, I feel like I can see it already. What? Honestly, I was so skeptical about the dry part of the powder puff. then setting with the one size powder. And this is what it is looking like. We're back. This is how the under eyes are looking. I feel like this side did a really great job of staying airbrushed, flawless finish all day long. I'm very impressed that it did not seep into my creases as much. Today we're trying out this hack from Samantha. Yesterday we used a dry powder puff. Today we're gonna wet this guy. Some water, triangle, and she completely wets this guy. Favorite setting spray and spraying the puff and applying it on, then taking the wet powder puff, blending it in. I was kind of scared that this was going to separate my makeup, but it's actually not. Then she switches her puff, then using the Laura Mercier powder to set. And then to brighten, I'm gonna use the YSL, the inner corner. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. We're back. Here's an update on the under eyes, creasing and caking up in my fine lines. And I feel like the texture also just looks okay. This is nothing to brag about, especially because it looks very similar to this side here. We're trying out Katie Jane Hughes, one of my personal favorite makeup artists. Katie Jane Hughes calls this technique priming the brush. Make sure to get all the product on the brush evenly and then applies it on the under eye and avoiding close to the lash line. I never thought about priming my brush. I guess it's very common for makeup artists to do this, but not for us normal folks. And then I'm going to use the translucent compact powder with a Lith highlighter brush on a brush and lightly places it on top of the concealer. This is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll check back in a few hours. We're back. This is what the under eyes are looking like. In this area here, my lines didn't crease as much. On my original side, you can see the concealer is basically almost coming off, versus on this side, it did crease a little bit, but the product is still on. I think this did an okay job and I really enjoyed the technique. Today we're trying out another technique from Vincent. Fingers crossed. So he has it done in a really cool way where there's color corrector, and this is from Amazing Cosmetics, and then blends out to the concealer. The Fit Me Maybelline powder, taking some product onto the brush, blending it out with the powder, mixing it with the concealer. I feel like this is going to be really good for those days you want a full coverage look. I'm going to remove some excess product and setting it all in. This is my favorite drugstore loose powder already, and this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll be back. We are back. Here's what the under eyes are looking like. From far away, it looks totally fine. Up close, not so much. I think the side ended up a lot more cakey than what I would prefer. This hack today is super simple. Only applies the concealer on where she doesn't crease. So for me, I crease right here. I'm not going to be applying any concealer there. She blends it out with a beauty blender. This concealer is seriously one of my favorites. Super creamy, full coverage, and blends like a dream. Using my favorite setting powder, she takes the puff, excess on the back of the hands, and before setting, just making sure everything is evened. And this is a secret hack. Stretch your face out where your lines may crease. And this is what the under eyes are looking like right now. I'll be back. I really feel like this combo is elite. We're back literally 13 hours later. Majority of my makeup is off, but the concealer is still on. Barely any creasing in my fine lines here. Usually, I know you guys have seen it. There's usually like a lot of caking and creasing right here, but there's some creasing and caking on my original side here. Nothing. I'm impressed. I tried this hack years ago and I remember it working, so let's test it out again. Remove any product underneath your eyes, taking my favorite eyeshadow primer, a teensy amount, and applying it like I would eye cream while looking up, and let it go into any fine lines that you may have. Using my IT Cosmetics number 7 brush, applying the concealer on top. Removing excess with a beauty blender and looking up, gently pat the powder in. I love how this gives a beautiful airbrush finish, and this is what the under eyes are looking like right now. We're back. Texture looks okay for both of them. The original, it is coming off. However, primer did a good job of creating like the seal, so the concealer didn't fall into my creases as much. It almost feels like this still looks exactly how I started. Definitely approved in my book. I'm trying out this hack from Tati. I believe that's how you say her name. She's stunning. So she said to avoid the areas where your fine lines are. Mine start like right here. She applied her concealer literally all the way down here. Never done that before. And then just a teensy bit here. Then she blended while still avoiding that area where the fine lines are. I feel like smiling kind of helps. Also, this Rimmel concealer, dupe for Shape Tape. So currently I have no concealer all the way in this area. My pressed powder from Charlotte Tilbury, going to set. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. Let's see how it wears throughout the day. I'm back. The original side here, it is definitely caking up in my fine lines versus this method because I didn't put any concealer on. There's nothing seeping in. And even when I smile, today we are taking notes from the hack queen herself. I'm excited. She applies the concealer on in 3 areas: the inner, outer, a little bit in the center, blends it out. She said powder is a non-negotiable. Today I'm trying this one from Lottie. It's supposed to be a dupe. I'm testing it out for you guys. But she uses the powder with a brush. Powder is super fine. Dabs it on. Then taking a clean brush with a setting mist, sprays the brush and pats it on top. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll check back in later. I'm back. Here's what the eyes are looking like. I feel like the texture and everything held up really well around this area. However, in my biggest crease, there's definitely some creasing and caking up. I think setting it really helped around this area. Today we are trying out this hack, and her approach to makeup is so realistic. And I'm also going to use their concealer brush. This brand is designed for melanin rich skin tones. Their color range, her technique, so interesting. She insists that you use a brush, and she actually takes a concealer on like this. And this helps you get the right amount of concealer on the brush. And instead of placing it all the way up here, she said to focus the concealer right where your bags are. So around here. This concealer is so creamy. And can we just talk about the shade match here? Instead of using a powder puff, using a brush, pressing the powder on top and really going into any lines you may have. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll be back for an update. I am back, and this is what the under eyes are looking like. These two look very similar right now, so I don't know if this method worked for my under eyes. And today, it has to do with toilet paper. Her hack is so different than anything else. The littlest amount of concealer, blends it out with a brush. This is the It Cosmetics. Then taking the toilet paper, she blots it first to remove excess concealer. You can see that here. And because I like thicker toilet paper, I'm just gonna separate this in half using the Lottie under eye setting powder. Put the toilet paper underneath the eyes and dab the powder on top. Apparently creates a filter for the powder so you don't put too much on. And here is what the under eyes are looking like. I'm doing some sightseeing today, so it's gonna be a long day. I'm back 14 hours later. My makeup is barely even on it. Let's compare the under eyes. My original method definitely caking up a lot right here versus not as much on this side. My purple dark circle undertones are coming through a little bit more on this side. Stacey has a hack with a primer. Let's test it out. Using an eyeshadow primer, Thank Me Later from Elizabeth Mott, just a little bit. Then taking the concealer and applying that right on top, mixing it in. And she applies the concealer on with her finger. I haven't done this in so long. Then taking the Ami Kohl concealer brush and look up and blending everything out. So the primer is supposed to help make everything last longer. Then she takes a fluffy brush. I'm gonna use a Charlotte Tilbury powder and looking up again, patting the powder on top. Doesn't give that powdery look. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll be back and check in later. I'm back. Texture for both of them looks okay. The side is definitely creasing and caking up quite a bit. The side in the very inner corners, it's caking up, but out here it looks okay. I still think that putting the primer on first instead of mixing it works just a little bit better. I'm trying out this hack from Alicia today, which kind of combines some of the things that we've already done. She starts off using color corrector in the inner corner only. This is one of my favorites from Bobbi Brown. Look how good that corrected my purple undertones. Then she applies the concealer in the inner corner only. And Alicia swears that blending with a brush is the best way to do it. She even said break up with your beauty blender, which is a bold statement to me. I'm loving this concealer. Then she takes her setting powder with a powder puff, dabs the excess off, and bakes. I applied lipstick on while this was baking. Then she just presses everything in to set the concealer in. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll be back. I'm back. Unfortunately, I feel like this is one of the worst results I've gotten. So off the bat here, you can just tell how much more texture, and you can see my fine lines going all the way down. It almost looks like I got more fine lines in the last day. Like, I'm shocked. My original side is so much better. It didn't work for me. If you have deep set fine lines, I don't think this one's gonna work for you. So her hack is kind of a combination of things we've already done. Maybe together it'll work out. She applies the concealer in 2 sections and lets it sit for 2 minutes. Blends it with her fingers, then takes setting mist on the back of her hand. Using her fingers, gently pats over the concealer. Then using powder, today I'm using the Huda Beauty, with a brush, gently applies the powder on top. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. Right now, this feels very lightweight, super easy and effortless, which I'm always a fan of. I'm back, and this is what the under eyes are looking like. I think the texture is okay. Creasing and caking up into my fine lines, similar to my original side, and even into my crow's feet when I smile. I feel like if you have fine lines or crow's feet, this one may not work out for the best. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very, very nervous about today's hack. The hack is to only use pressed foundation powder underneath the eyes. No concealer. But on this side, I'm still going to do it my normal way, but I'm going to set the under eyes with this Jane Ardell foundation powder. On this side, I'm only going to use the powder. As you can tell, I genuinely love my foundation powder. Looking up and applying powder on. I feel like I'm gonna need additional coverage just around my bags. Honestly, they look pretty even right now. This is what the under eyes are looking like. I'm gonna come back in after a night out. Stay tuned. I'm back and honestly super surprised. This is what the under eyes are looking like. My concealer is caking up into my fine lines here. On this side, the powder barely creased. The only thing is, I think there's a little bit less coverage on the powder side. I think on a daily basis, this might be the way to go. Buckle up because his hack today has a few steps. We'll be using Fenty Moisturize with this one. People sleep on this drugstore color corrector. It's so good. Applying the teensiest amount. Blending it out. And this is where things get interesting. We're going to be setting using the LA Girl Pro setting powder. Brush and set. Apply the teensiest amount of concealer on the back of my hand. Build up the coverage. Taking the setting powder once again and lightly setting it first. Then going in with the puff. And you guys, for a drugstore powder, this one already comes with a puff right on top. And one more powder. This is the Fenty Press Powder. Load it up on the puff. Dab excess. Set that on top. I've never used that many powders in one routine, but this is what the under eyes are looking like. It's giving full glam coverage. I'm back. This is what the under eyes are looking like. Coverage is really good. Texture, really good. There is very minimal creasing. I think this just goes to show you that using more product doesn't always mean is going to come out bad. Today we're trying out Maha's hack and I almost have everything she used, so let's see if this works. Starts off by color correcting. She said always a blender over a brush. Blending the corrector right in. Using the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and you can tell how much I love this thing. This is where it gets interesting. She says we're going to do one eye at a time. The key is to keep looking up. Use a press powder, dab it on the hands, stay looking up and press on top. Don't blink, don't blink, don't blink. Cool. Taking a loose powder, dab off the excess. While looking up, apply that on top. Oh my god, the not blinking part is crazy. Using a fluffy brush, just dabbing off any excess powder. Do you guys see that difference? This looks so filtered. This is what the under eyes are looking like. I'll check back in later. I'm back, and this is what the under eyes are looking like. The original side, there's less coverage. It didn't hold up as well. Texture wise, I think this is much better, more coverage. There's just a teensy bit of creasing into my fine lines. Today's technique is very similar to yesterday's, except the powders are going to go in a different order. Applying a little bit of concealer, using the IT Cosmetics brush and blending it. The secret is using 2 different powders, and apparently if you're not using 2 powders, you're doing this completely wrong. One loose powder and then a pressed powder. Today we're going to take the loose powder first and going in this rolling like motion. This feels so foreign to me. Taking the pressed powder, gonna use this brush from Lift because it's nice and fluffy. Dabbing some of this on, and then using just a little bit of product, adding the pressed powder on top. Already I can tell that the side with double powder is giving more full coverage. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'm back. This is what the eyes are looking like. The original side, a lot of caking, makeup is just coming off, barely any creasing or caking. I never thought the order in which you applied powder matters until now. I definitely think that applying loose powder then pressed powder is the way to go. This hack from Erica is something completely different than anything I've tried so far. She applies the Hourglass concealer in these two areas. This is where it gets interesting. She takes a face oil. This is one of my favorites, as you can see. A little drop on the back of her hand. Taking my Real Techniques 242 brush, take a little bit of the oil and mix it in with the concealer. Erica said this really helps hydrate your eyes, and lack of hydration is sometimes what causes the creasing and caking up. It actually looks really nice and hydrated. So she also does not put any powder on top. A little hesitant about that. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'm gonna come back in later for a checkup. I'm back. This is what the under eyes are looking like. Because I don't have powder on this side, I'm not a big fan of the way the texture is looking. I feel like it's a little bit more prominent on me. Also, coverage wise, the side is lacking a little bit, but as far as creasing goes, I will say it's pretty minimal. If you have drier under eyes, I think this one can be really good for you. Today is a little bit different. We're talking about how to maintain or rejuvenate our under eyes after we've been wearing concealer. And this is another hack from Erica. I've had my concealer on for a few hours now and I followed day 1 method. The powder has really created a lot of texture today. I don't know why. Using the same oil as I did yesterday, apply just a little bit and just doing a teensy amount. I'm a bit scared that my powder and concealer is going to separate the minute I put this oil on. I'm just gonna look up because a lot of my creasing and caking is right in this area. I feel like it instantly helped with the creasing, like it blended it out a little bit. I'm gonna come back to show you what it looks like at the end of the day. I'm back and here's an update on the under eyes. I do feel like the coverage decreased after I used the oil. There's so much more caking up on my new side, and my mascara also really transferred down here. I don't know if I did something wrong, but I don't think this one worked out for me. Thank you so much for this tip. Maybe skin prep is where it really starts. These are my favorite reusable under eye patches from Pacifica. Let's take it off. I've been wearing this for about 20 minutes while I did my eyes. It feels so nice, plump. Then going in with the Kiehl's avocado eye cream. I love how full coverage this concealer is. And let me tell you, this side feels so much more hydrated. Keeping it all drugstore today using the Maybelline Fit Me powder. And this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'm gonna check back in a couple hours. I'm back and truly surprised by these results. This is what the under eyes are looking like. My original side, there's so much makeup separation, creasing and caking. There's just a little bit of creasing right here, but everything else looks hydrated, clean, no makeup separation. And mind you, today I used drugstore concealer and setting powder. I guess I need to use eye patches more often. We're trying out a hack from Rose and Ben, and she said the secret sauce is using 2 concealers instead of 1. Starts off with an eye cream. I absolutely love Kiehl's avocado eye cream. I finished this eye while this was drying up a little bit. Then she said to take your creamy concealer and use the littlest amount. Just those 3 tiny dots gave such coverage. Then she takes a dry pot concealer and then adding it to the under eyes. Sets with a powder and powder puff. Makeup is done, and this is what the under eyes are looking like. I'm gonna check in after this holiday party. I'm back. Far away, texture looks really good. Coverage still looks really good. Definitely caking and separating right here versus this side. There is just a little bit. We'll say this side does look much better. So maybe wearing 2 concealers really does help. Out of all 31 hacks, only 5 ranked 9 points or higher. And these are the only ones that I recommend to anybody or the ones I would even repeat. On the flip side, 5 are so bad that I honestly wouldn't even wish them upon my worst enemy. Or maybe I would, I don't know. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for, drum roll please. Here are my top 3 concealer hacks that give me the smoothest, most flawless, filter-like finish under eyes. The least amount of creasing, looks natural, feels really good. In 3rd place is day 8, Spencer's technique of blend, set, bake. Layering in that exact specific order made a big difference in how the concealer sat and lasted all day long. In 2nd place was day 30, using under eye skin prep. I mean, I'm such a big person on skincare prep. I just never really thought about it under my eyes. I used a eye mask and a really nice nourishing eye cream. Now I know this is not feasible for everybody who's on the go because I did wear the eye patches for about 20 minutes, but we cannot skip on the skin prep underneath the eyes. Using an eye mask and hydrating under eye cream made a huge difference. My eyes looked plump, refreshed, and hydrated all day long. And in 1st place is using an eye primer before using color corrector and concealer. This one shocked me. I never thought about priming my under eyes like I do my lids, but this worked so amazing. It basically created a sealant underneath the eyes. The eye primer went into my fine lines and created this barrier where when I applied my color corrector and concealer, it just looked so smooth. Like wrinkles almost disappeared. And the tackiness of the primer also helped like secure the concealer together. I don't know, it was magic. And the honorable mention goes to day 20. Color correct, set with loose powder, conceal, then use a pressed powder. I know, it is a full routine. Now, I recommend doing this on the days you want that full beat. Like if you're going out, and you are going dancing, dinner, wedding, whatever it is, because it is a little bit on the heavier side, but my gosh, the way that made my under eyes look like a filter, I would have never thought. And I was always taught to never use a liquid after a powder, but something about this just, amazing results. And if you found this helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe and send this to your bestie who's always creasing, because we gotta let her know so she can stop. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, cuties.